So yesterday actually was a day with a lot of good trading opportunities. I took a loss myself, but I'm going through the setups that were good. I marked them already here, but this is the one I'm currently focusing on. So as always, I take the higher time frame as a starter. So what do I see? We have a inverse fair value gap on the 1 hour that was broken to the upside. It broke down, retested it, but then here it acted as resistance. So until proven otherwise, I take into account that this is likely to be a breaker or act as resistance until it is not anymore. And then on the 15 minute, I'll move this one aside, because on the 15 minute, just for clarity's sake, we have a bearish fair value gap holding price down, and as you can see, price was going to hold here as well. So what happened? I was watching this the moment when London opened here at 3 o'clock. Asia high was really close, price pierced through, started consolidating here, and then it slowly started grinding down. And what I saw here, let me just see where I have it, here actually a 15-minute fair value gap also showed, and it corresponded with the it corresponded with the 5 minutes. So generally when price is so this is the 15 minute. Let me just mark out the 15 minute. And I will also just do the replay a bit. So we have a 15-minute fair value gap already created. We're going to add the 5 minute to it. And what you want to see, this is still the high, right? So when you want to see a change in the state, that's here, or maybe safer even here. So that's a long way point-wise. But we're still in the higher time frame offering resistance. So price starts finding support on the gaps, and normally when I look at price these weeks, that when a gap offers proper support and interacts a lot with the level and does not inverse directly, normally it provides support and then it moves up, or as resistance moves down, depending on the direction. As you can see, 1 bounce, 2 bounce, and then the third one, it started bouncing again. So this is normally the moment where I do not pay attention anymore for trades, but that was also, in all honesty, I wasn't paying attention to the 15 minute. So I was watching this 5 minute and I was thinking, okay, yeah, it's just doing a proper retrace. I was looking at this, it's doing a proper retrace to the 618 level. At least it got the EQ, so now it's just finding support. You can see that on ES it was even a nicer retracement, I think even to the 618, to the golden fib. So I was thinking, yeah, shorting this makes not much sense actually. So I was just watching, and then actually by the time here I was doing other things because I thought this trade was over. But now it actually got interesting, also taking into account that we had the 15 minute also being broken, and being broken in a proper way. So I will mark it, let's mark it just a slightly different color. So here the 5 minute got broken to the downside for the first time properly, and then it retested it. So it retested both the 15 and the 5 minute, and then it started selling off. So I missed this one. To be honest, I don't care because the the downside, there is of course a lot of downside because we had Asia low here and a lot of low resistance liquidity run here. So all these levels were about to get taken. So I was just not really, well, let's say paper trading it. There was no retrace and immediately went to this level. So if I would have paid attention to it, then you could just go with the stop here and chase this liquidity. That's a 2.6, that's a beautiful trade. And I think what happened, did it bounce? Yeah, beautiful. So what you can see is normally when I will move this was just, let's say, a first try. Normally what you can see is that when price just grinds towards a fair value gap, drops down, does a small retest, quick reaction first, and then a move up again. So this could have been the second attempt to get that trade. On the 5 minute now you have this order block, and on the 15 minute you have this beautiful retest of the fair value gap because this broke down. And on the 15 minute, if you would just solely be a trade based on the 15 minute, there was no retrace up to this moment. So that would have given a wonderful setup. I don't know if I would actually short this based on retest and then put the stop, for example, up here and then just target the same, which would be crazy RR. But then I would wait until price gets in, it would close below, and then normally you could expect like another wick taking out this level and then selling down. This is actually on the 5 minute. What was the 15 minute doing? It was not even giving you that time to do it. Let's see the 1 minute. Yeah. So this is interesting, right? You have these quite violent candles up, leaving some gaps, slowing down. There's also a 1 minute fair value gap. So this is a lot of confluence. And potentially it's a golden fib retracement from the highs. Look. So now it all starts adding up, right? So this is a retest to the EQ of this entire move. And now everything starts adding up. Then you can wait for this drop and then maybe take, like, I don't know if we actually retested that gap. You can do it above than this level, or maybe just take the wick and assume that it will not be taken. But actually I think you always should take into account that can happen. So you can place a stop here. Let's see what happens. I'll do it on the 5 minute. So look at that. You do get the extra test into that 1 minute fair value gap. Okay, of course I knew a little bit how the trade was going, but not this precisely. And then it starts chopping a bit up and down, even get, yeah, because this is what you would normally expect. Did we also have an SMT? No, not really. No. So there's no SMT here. But what you can see is that the price action of ES was heavy, much heavier than NQ. So there was this price retest, and actually now we do have an SMT. And when it's already, let's say, when you get an SMT in favor of the draw, this is wonderful. This is a really wonderful SMT on the lower time frame. Where are we? Oof, even here. Look. So this actually sets all the green lights for a short opportunity. So even if you got in the trade and you would see price move up here, you might think, oh dear, where are we going? But if you can see that ES was already being really heavy, then it looks quite good. Now something you need to take into account is ES going to take these low and then bounce up? Because then the setup for NQ, of course, he should be a bit conservative with the targets, but it's a good setup anyway. So let's move to the 5 and see what happened afterwards. So let's take into account. It's a 3R. That's really beautiful. Okay, yeah, so look at this. ES was already dumping like crazy, and NQ was just stalling, you know? Actually getting really close to these high, and then suddenly, once it goes, it goes. It took this quite a long trade, because this took... How long did this take? Okay, so let's say you enter here. So that's a 1 hour trade, but a really nice one, and I think afterwards it went just down completely. Yeah, okay. Wow, so much patience. So you can see all this liquidity is getting grabbed. Okay, so that was the first setup. So what's to learn from here? Even though this is a slow grind into a gap, once it breaks, you either can try to scale in as soon as possible on the gap, targeting that first liquidity or somewhere near that first liquidity run. But generally, if this is really, let's say, a reversal with a proper breakdown, then you always get this thin move up, this thin fast move up into the gap where it originated from, to then sell off afterwards. And as you can see, the ES trade was the far better, quicker trade, because you would have gotten your target already. If you look at NQ, you would have gotten your target already halfway where NQ would get it. So that's a patience thing. But so far so good.